Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. Today we're going to break down one of the most high-stakes issues on the world stage, Iran's race for the bomb. And hey, if you want to stay on top of critical topics just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Just let that sink in for a moment. That one sentence right there, it's the reason the world is watching so closely. It's a claim that could, quite literally, change the global balance of power. For decades, Iran's nuclear and missile programs have been a source of suspicion, debate, and incredible tension. So, that brings us to two really big questions. First, how real is this threat, really? And second, how in the world did we get to this point? To get to the bottom of it, we've got to peel back the layers of technology, history, and ambition. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the delivery system, the missile itself. Iran has always maintained that its rocket program is all about peaceful space exploration, launching satellites. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The tech you need to put a satellite into orbit is almost exactly the same tech you need to launch a warhead across continents. And that brings us to this key concept, dual-use technology. This idea is at the absolute heart of the whole controversy. When you master things like multi-stage rockets, super powerful engines, and complex guidance systems, you're building a capability that could just as easily serve science or war. The only real difference? It all comes down to intent.
Take a look at this. It's fascinating just how similar these two things are. A space launch vehicle and an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, are practically twins. They both use the same powerful, multi-stage rockets to punch through the atmosphere. The only real difference is what happens at the very end. An SLV is designed to gently nudge a satellite into a stable orbit, but an ICBM, its guidance system is all about surviving a fiery re-entry to hit a very specific target on the ground.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote is a direct admission from a top official inside Iran's own aerospace program. They know it, we know it, they're openly acknowledging this dual-use reality. It's not some big secret, it's just physics. And this convenient overlap allows their missile program to keep moving forward, all under the cover of a peaceful space program.
And this isn't just theory either. Back in 2007, a rocket launch showed off a potential range of 4,000 kilometers. That's more than enough to hit targets all across the Middle East and even parts of Europe. So the progress is very, very real. But a delivery system is only one half of the equation. Now we have to talk about the other side of this ambition, the nuclear program itself.
Right, so a long-range missile is one thing. But the real concern, the thing that keeps world leaders up at night, is what it might carry one day. And Iran's quest for nuclear capability? Well, it's not some new thing. This is a story that goes back more than 50 years, full of twists and turns that led us right to the crisis we see today.
Believe it or not, the whole thing actually kicked off with help from the US back in 1957. But then, the 1979 Islamic Revolution changed everything, and that Western cooperation dried up. The brutal war with Iraq in the 80s, where they faced chemical attacks, really lit a fire under them to get the ultimate deterrent. Then came the mid-90s, and with secret help from the infamous AQ-Con network, the program went into overdrive. And this all exploded into public view in 2002, when secret nuclear facilities were suddenly revealed to the world. And just look at this list of their declared sites. We are not talking about a couple of labs in a basement here. This is a massive, nationwide industrial operation. From mining the raw uranium ore right out of the ground to spinning it in advanced centrifuges, Iran has built the entire nuclear assembly line, from start to finish.
And that's the real kicker. By building this complete, independent nuclear fuel cycle, Iran gets the ability to produce low-enriched uranium for power plants, which is what they say they want. But that exact same fuel cycle gives them the ability to produce highly enriched, weapons-grade uranium. And that fundamental ambiguity, that gray area, is the absolute heart of this entire standoff.
So you have to ask yourself, why? Why this relentless, decades-long push for these technologies, even in the face of crippling sanctions and international outrage? Well, analysts will tell you it boils down to a powerful cocktail of three core motivations.
First and foremost, and this is the big one, security. From Tehran's point of view, they're surrounded by enemies and have the US military on their doorstep. A nuclear weapon is seen as the ultimate insurance policy. Second, prestige. Iranians see themselves as the heirs to a 2,500-year-old civilization, and they believe they deserve a major seat at the global table. And finally, there's ideology. For the regime's hardliners, it's about leading an Islamic revolution and having the power to challenge the West.
This quote just nails the cold, hard logic of that security argument.
I mean, think about it. Tehran watched the U.S. invade a non-nuclear Iraq, but has been way more cautious with a nuclear-armed North Korea. The lesson they took from that seems brutally simple. Nukes equals survival.
Now, here's something you have to remember. Iran didn't get here by itself. Its progress was massively sped up by a network of international partners, creating this incredibly complex global chessboard of friends, rivals, and competing interests.
And when you look at who helped him out, it really tells a story. North Korea was a huge early partner, providing the actual hardware and tech for their first big missiles. China and Russia supplied more advanced stuff, especially the critical guidance systems and testing know-how. You know, the very things you need to make a missile accurate. This outside help wasn't just helpful, it was absolutely essential. And all of this has led to a major split among the world's powers. On one side, you've got the US and Europe, who've tried to isolate Iran with sanctions, hoping to force them to give up enrichment completely. But on the other side, you've got Russia and China, who've taken a totally different route. They've focused on engagement, trade, and diplomacy. Sure, they don't want Iran to get a bomb, but they also don't want to lose their economic and strategic ties. And that division, especially since they have veto power at the UN, has made a unified global strategy pretty much impossible.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, with Iran's programs moving forward and the international community pulling in different directions, the standoff has just become more and more dangerous. It's turned into a very high-stakes confrontation with no easy answers in sight.
One analyst put it perfectly. This isn't a slow, strategic game of chess anymore. It's become a game of chicken, with two sides hurtling toward each other at top speed, each one daring the other to swerve out of the way first.
And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? With diplomatic talks seemingly going nowhere and the technology constantly improving, what are the options left on the table? As Iran gets closer and closer, the window for a peaceful solution gets smaller and the remaining choices get a lot riskier.
In a game of chicken, the longer both sides refuse to budge, the bigger the crash is going to be. As we've seen, the motivations here run deep, the technology is real and getting better, and the world is divided on how to stop it. So the question isn't just if someone will blink, but when.
And that's where we're going to leave this explainer for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Global War Watch Network as we unpack this incredibly complex and important issue.
If you found this breakdown valuable, please do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe to the Global War Watch Network. We really want to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And you can join our community on social media. We've put all the links for you in the description. Thanks again for tuning in.